right now because I played with my microphone for 5 minutes trying to get it to work and it's not working, and I'm really upset because like it's a pretty like decently easy program that I'm using, and like Paul and I tested it out before and it was fine, and now I'm trying to use it and it's not working, and I'm really upset because I'm like, I just want to get this like damn mic to work. So like yeah, and you know what, I'm kind of talking about a heated like thing in this video, so like maybe this kind of like matches, but no, I'm really annoyed because I got this mic and it was like $40, which is like pretty expensive in my book, and like I want it to damn it work, and you better work, and it's not working, so like I'm mad. Okay, so basically, I feel like as a, not rule of thumb, but like one of the things that I felt like I try to avoid talking about is money and finances because it's very uncomfortable. Funny I mentioned the mic thing and how it's $40. But about magic cards, I try to like not really talk about it because it's a very uncomfortable conversation. But I kind of thought about this idea, and then I was like, I kind of want to pursue this. I kind of want to film this video talking about this topic. So I kind of want to go back a little bit to when I started out in competitive Magic, and like up until that point, you know, what I did like before that in terms of playing decks, you know, I had like these 60 decks that were like, you know, random cards that, you know, were, I guess, like, legacy, but they weren't, like, good legacy decks. Like, they were just, like, whatever, like, fun decks. And I was like, hey, these cards, like, work together, right? Like, I could totally do this. Like, I had, like, a zombie deck, like, you know, whatever. And then I don't even remember when I got into EDH. And I'm blanking on when I got into EDH. But, yeah, I had, like, these 60 count decks. None of them were really crazy expensive. So basically, I get into competitive Magic. This is 2K15, so we're going back a little bit. Almost like 2 years ago, actually. And I, you know, started going to my local game store, and like we have like Thursday night EDH nights. The date has now changed. I think they're on like Mondays or whatever. But it was like Thursday night EDH nights. And I would go there and I would like play EDH with my friends, and it would be, yeah, so at that time I definitely had EDH decks. I don't know what I had, but I played EDH at the time. And I, you know, wanted to start getting into competitive Magic, and my deck at that time was like maybe like this is black white tokens, it was maybe like $100 or whatever, something like that, and I knew that I had to like dish out more money to make the deck, you know, much better. And this was at a time when like Thoughtseizes were like $20, Inquisitions were like $15, so you know, now those prices have since dropped pretty significantly, but you know, at that time it was a little more expensive. I mean, Marsh Flats, before now they're reprinted, were crazy expensive, you know, and the cards in that deck were hard, like not hard, but like a lot of them were expensive. I wasn't running Bitter Blossoms, my build just didn't do that. A lot of the cards were just cents. Like the way that the deck worked is like you either had a card like Lingering Souls, Spectral Procession, Intangible Virtue. Those cards are like cents to get. And then like you've got cards like, you know, Bitter Blossom, which was like $40 at the time. So like, you know, the price gap in that deck was like very widespread. You know, there wasn't a lot of $5 cards. It was a lot of, you know, nothing or something real big. So anyways, I knew that I had to like dish out the money to make my deck to make the deck better so I could go to like competitive events. Now, at that time, I started dating this guy who worked at my local game store. And one of the things about dating him was, since he worked there, he got a discount on magic cards. Pretty natural thing for most places. I get a discount where I work at Victoria's Secret. Most people, you know, you work someplace, you get a discount. So whatever, he gets a discount. Anyways, a little bit after we start dating or something, manager of a game store, who's a sweetheart and I love him, pulled me aside and was like, Tracy, you know, just want to let you know that because you're dating this guy, you're gonna get his discount. And I was like, okay. And, you know, a lot of people would jump at this opportunity and be like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna buy everything. And I don't want to say, like, take advantage because, like, you know, I don't know. I mean, like, if you're, okay, scratch that. But, like, basically, a lot of people would jump at this opportunity, and I was very hesitant. Like, I told my boyfriend at the time, I was like, I don't really think I'm gonna buy any cards, so please refrain from, like, what are you talking about? Discounted magic cards? Yeah, I don't even remember what the discount was. It's not important. But, you know, I told him, I was like, I don't think I'm going to take advantage of this. It makes me really uncomfortable. And he was like, okay. He's like, you can do what you want if you don't want cards. If you want me to get you cards, like, I can do that, because, like, their reason behind it is, the owner told me, he was like, well, you know, your significant other is gonna buy you cards anyway, so it just makes more sense for me to have the discount as well on my, like, account thing. And that, so when I go up to the register, they don't have to, like, use his account like they use your account, whatever. At that time, they had, like, a reward point if you, every dollar you spent, some sort of, like, thing like that. So I was like, okay, sure, fine, whatever. So, again, the thought made me very uncomfortable, and, you know, I don't remember, like, how many cards I bought, or, like, whatever, like, that doesn't matter, but I did eventually kind of come to terms with it, and I felt a little bit more okay with it. I wasn't like, oh yeah, let's buy like $1,000 worth of Magic cards and take advantage of this discount. It wasn't like that. I wasn't dating someone for their discount. I was just dating the person because I liked them at the time. And, you know, that just was a pretty awesome plus. But again, the thought of it really made me uncomfortable. Still kind of makes me uncomfortable. The whole thought of other people spending money on me, people getting me gifts, it makes me very, how many times can we say the word uncomfortable? But it just makes me, I don't know, it freaks me out. Like, this past Christmas, my parents bought me a camera that's not better than this one. It was not a good camera, so I had to ask them to return it, which was, like, anxiety-inducing enough, because I hate asking people for anything, and then I also just really hate asking, like, someone to return this gift that they bought me. So, anyways, instead of being like, hey guys, could you get me a different camera, I was so anxiety-induced that I couldn't even say that to my own parents, like, seriously, Tracy, this is what anxiety it looks like. So it was like, yeah, okay, and then I still haven't gotten anything for that camera, which, I mean, again, it would be nice to have another camera, especially if my parents bought it, because cameras are real expensive, and I do need to get a new camera at some point, and I know that. So yeah, anyways, that's what that looks like for me and money, pretty much. I don't like people buying other things, I don't know, it's weird. So, anyways, I would get some cards, whatever, and, like, the biggest purchase that I made through that was when I dumped a lot of money in one day, I remember, for Bloom Titan. And if my local game store had all the cards, I would have gotten them there. One, because, yeah, okay, the discount, it would have been nice to help me out with my modern deck, I'm not gonna lie. Two, because I want to support my local game store. Even though I am getting a discount, it's like, I want to support my local game store. Like, I need a couple of cards for my deck. Instead of, like, going online, I'm gonna try to see if they have them, you know, first. I do order, like, through TCG, I'm not gonna lie, but I do like supporting my local game store. I buy my comic books from them. Like, I wouldn't buy my comic books from somewhere else, I don't know. I just like supporting them. So, when I dumped the cards for Bloom Titan in one day, I spent a crazy amount of money. I just dumped it because this was at a time where I was like, I want to play, like, this deck, I want to play this deck, and, like, I didn't really know, like, what I was doing, and I was kind of building up my, like, trade collection too, because I was, like, getting packs and, like, opening them up, whatever, and I felt like I was just spending so much money. Like, I felt like, you know, every weekend at least, it was like, oh, go to a tournament, $30. And it was just, like, crazy how much money I was spending. You know, looking at it, like, my Grixis control deck, like, totaled was, like, $900, which is, like, really crazy to me when I think about that. And, you know, one thing that I felt like, and again, I'm gonna choose my words carefully because I just don't want to sound like I'm offending anyone. And I said this before, and I can't remember which video, but, like, how some people's lives are, like, in their game store, and, like, they go to work, and then they go to their game store, and, like, they eat food, and, like, that's, like, their cycle, and that's, like, their routine. And I'm not criticizing people for doing that, I'm just saying that is just not who I am. And I was in that position, I think, at one point. Like, at one point when I was back from school, like, in my time, like, from, you know, December to January in college, out of, like, the 31 days, like, I spent, like, 30 of them at my game store. Like, it was crazy. And I realized, like, I was going there so much and I was spending so much money, and it was just kind of, like, ridiculous. And I got to the point where I was like, I have no problem supporting my local game store. No, I have no issues with that at all. But it came to the point where I was just blowing so much money on Magic, and I felt like again, I'm trying to phrase this as gently as I possibly can, but there's a lot of people who, and this is not just with Magic, but a lot of things, like, are so into their hobby that, like, they can't, in a sense, move on with their life, like, get an apartment or pay their college loans because they're spending so much money on this one activity. And again, it doesn't have to be Magic. Like, okay, so comparison time. So I'm a part of this, like, planner group on Facebook, right? I've told you guys before. Planner stickers, it's great, whatever. And, you know, I'm I try to be realistic with it. I try to be smart. I don't like blow $500 a month on stickers. I just don't do that. I don't blow $500 a month on like anything. That's just not something that I do. And really, I can honestly tell you the most expensive credit card bill I ever had was when I built Balloon Titan. My credit card bill was like $700 that month, which for me, like with financially, like what I was making, like this is when I was in school too, like was not a lot of money. So, it was a lot, and I was going somewhere at this point, I don't remember what it was. But yeah, I just spent like so much money on it. Oh yeah, and you know, there's some people like who I know who like realistically, if they didn't spend all this money on Magic, like could have moved out of their parents' place, and they could have, you know, paid their bills with this. And like, you know, it's fine to treat yourself. It's fine to buy Magic cards. It's fine to buy Pokemon cards or stickers or whatever it is that you're into, but going broke because of your hobby is not a good thing. Oh, so the Planet Group. So basically, there's a lot of times that people make comments on there that, I don't know if they make me uncomfortable, but they kind of turn me off a little bit, and they, like, people will make comments on, like jokes, but, like, you know, like, there's kind of, like, a little truth behind every joke kind of thing. So, like, some people will be like, well, it's buying stickers this month or paying the rent. And, like, things like that, like, really turn me off because, like, you could easily substitute that word stickers for Magic cards. Like, let's be completely honest. Like, but it's those sort of things that people, like, make those jokes. But I'm like, but no, like, you want to pay your rent, obviously, because you want a house, because you need a house, like, or an apartment, or, like, something like that. And, you know, there's people I feel like who are just, like, restricted and, like, bound because they spend so much money in their local game store that they feel, like, trapped there. And, like, they spend so much money that, again, it's the difference between not even just every once in a while, but spending your money reasonably and then, like, blowing, like, almost your entire paycheck, like, on whatever, on tournaments, on new cards, or whatever, because you're building, like, an EDH deck or whatever. And I don't want to sound like I'm criticizing people, because I was totally there. I spent so much money, and I will fully admit it, and I'm trying to get a grasp on my finances, and I'm really, like, this year, like, I've changed so many things about my life, like, realistically. Like, okay, one, I became a vegetarian. Two, I'm no longer using products that are tested on animals, so I'm vegan with my makeup. So, like, anything like mascara, like anything that they test on animals, I don't buy anymore. Things like that. I kind of changed sort of like what I want to do. Like, I got my bachelor's degree in December, but I am thinking about pursuing another career, like something like writing, because writing or proofreading or tutoring or like something like that. So I've changed that. And then like finances too, like I'm trying to keep track of like my finances. I'm trying to be like way better about it. I'm trying to be smarter. I'm trying to like keep track of these things and see how much I'm spending. And it's been like really helping. Like I don't remember like off the top of my head like how much my credit card bills were like last year, but like my goal now at this point of my life, I'm at a different stage in my life where I've just graduated. I've been applying, like, okay, we're going into April now. I've been applying for jobs since like February, which is a little disheartening that I haven't really heard anything from those jobs. Like, it really bums me out because this is not what I really thought the application process would look like. It's pretty frustrating, I have to say. Like, I'm kind of turned off because I'm like at this stage where I just want something in my field and I want a full-time job, because again, my goal is to like move out. I mean, like, I don't have like a horrific living situation where like but it's like, you know, I'm gonna be like 23 and like I'm already like I need to move out. I mean, you know, I have like two older brothers, and like they have, you know, very different stories, I would say, in what they did. So my middle brother Brett, when he was like 20, like moved out. Great for him. Awesome. I mean, he moved, like, he's been like a couple places and whatever, and now he's in the city. And then my other brother Nick moved out when he was like 26 because, you know, Nick got his master's, so that takes like a longer period of time, which is another reason why I've decided not to pursue my master's at this moment. I am thinking about pursuing like an online like sort of degree, which I know people shame online degrees, and like you totally shouldn't. Like that in community college, like I went to community college my first 2 years and like I got the same level of education as like someone who went to any other school, so like it doesn't matter at all. I had like great teachers in community college, like And it saved my parents so much money. Like, I'm really thankful that my parents, like, paid for my education, which, like, is, like, incredible. Like, that is, like, that and, like, this home, like, those are, like, the things that it's just, like, the fact that they helped me out in is, like, incredible. So, basically, like, again, that's my goal. Like, this year, too, I'm putting money, like, from my checking into my savings. Like, I'm actually putting money, like, into my savings. Like, this past Christmas. So basically, long story short, but my birthday's in June, and my uncle, like, wrote me a check, but I guess, like, it got stuck on the back of something else, and then, like, it didn't get, like, lost, but, like, it didn't get given to me. I, like, brushed it off. I was like, whatever, like, I'm 22, like, you know, thank you for being generous and giving me something on my birthday, but, like, I'm 22, you know, at this point, I'm not, like, 5, or I'm not, like, 5, whatever. So, you know, I got 2 checks from that, and then I got a check for graduating, which was really generous. Like, I didn't expect anything for my graduation, so that was, like, really nice. Don't really expect anything in general, but for my graduation, I was like, oh, that's sweet. So, anyways, I took those checks, and normally I would have maybe like deposited some of them into my savings, some of them into my checking, but I put all of them into my savings. And I felt like the tournaments, Magic tournaments, really were the big thing that I think really weighed me down. And, you know, now at this point, what I do is I buy cards that I need. I don't go out and buy booster boxes or packs anymore. And I know I love the joy of packs. Do not get me wrong. I think booster boxes are a ton of fun. I would love to do unboxings on my channel. I just think they're a ton of fun. You know, I'm actually realizing too the value of those videos. I think the value of watching them is to see kind of like a sample of what you could get and maybe could sway your opinion in getting a box or another. Like, I used to think that they were just for fun, but I'm realizing more that they are actually valuable. And I would absolutely love to do that on my channel. But, you know, $100 for that when I don't know if I'm going to use all of those cards, like, just to open it on my channel, it's just not something that's realistic, really. And, you know, it's, yeah, so, like, I just can't, not that I can't, I just don't want to financially do that sort of thing. Like I said, I'm trying to be way better about what I am doing and realizing, okay, I'm getting this much from my payday. How much of, you know, I get paid basically twice a month, you know, like every 2 weeks, as most places do, bi-weekly, you know, whatever. So yeah, like I'm really crossing my fingers that hopefully soon I get a full-time job and that I'm able to really start saving more and putting more away so that I can, like, hopefully move out. Like, I don't have a set plan of, like, on this date I'm gonna, like, move out or anything like that. You know, I don't have, like, that sort of thing. But you know what? And I know that there's plenty of people who move out even when they're not 100% secure financially. Not, like, 100%, but, like, they could be more financially secure, but they want to move out because they just want to, and I completely get that. But I have, like, no idea. I have no idea, like, where life's gonna take me. Like, I want to talk to you guys about how, you know, I've applied now for a pretty widespread amount of jobs. Like I said, I've applied to places in the city. I'm, like, about, on the train, I'm about, like, an hour and 20 minutes or so away from the city, New York City. And it's funny, I always say the city because I'm in New York, and I'm like, oh yeah, the city, like, obviously you know what I'm talking about, but then I'm like, oh wait, I have people who, like, are like, this city, like, I'm like, okay, wait, New York, we're in New York. So, I've applied to, like, you know, positions in the city, and, like, that's not really, like, my ideal thing, because, say I have, like, a 9-to-5 job in the city at, like, a publishing place or something like that, you know, my day, I'll wake up at, like, say 7, no, maybe not 7, maybe, like, 6:30 or something like that, you know, whatever, take the train, blah, 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 get back, and, you know, it's, like, 7 o'clock at night that I'm now home, and it's, like, you know, it's a very, very long day, and, like, I don't know how that's gonna work with, like, balancing YouTube, and, like, I feel like I don't want anything to affect this because I love doing this, and I really enjoy it, and I don't want this to stop at all. I don't want the flow of this, but, you know, I think 3 videos a week is pretty generous, I would say. I know that there's some content creators who do, like, 1 video a week, and that's sufficient for them. That's just not sufficient for me personally. But I do think that 3 is pretty nice. I mean, I don't know. I feel like I'm like, oh, I'm so great. I upload 3 times a week. But, like, you know, could be not 3 times a week. Like, it also could be inconsistent, and I've been really consistent with my uploads. Not to, like, boast myself up, but, like, I'm an organized person. It's, like, one of my personality traits. and I want to keep things smoothly and organized, and when things aren't organized, it like drives me crazy and gives me anxiety. So like I can't be not organized. Supposed to be about magic, and it clearly wasn't. It was about finances in general, but whatever. But like, yeah, I think that I don't want to be that person who I've seen of so many other people where they get trapped in their game store where they're like, they can't afford to do anything else because all their money goes towards magic. And again, you can financially make it work. You can financially have your luxuries, whatever your luxury items are, and, you know, do whatever. But like going in debt or like, you know, any sort of thing like that. Oh, and another thing too that I've realized, especially being on that planner group that I'm a part of on Facebook, that I want to say, is someone else's finances could be nothing, are probably nothing like yours. So basically what I mean by that is, you know, you may watch, like, okay, so let's keep talking about sticker things, but like, just because I feel like with magic, like, it can be an inconsistent number of how much you spend each month, or, okay, but we'll phrase it like magic. Okay, so say I watch, you know, one of my friends who goes to 2 tournaments a week. So they go Saturday and Sunday, they go to some sort of tournament. Say one tournament is 30, and then the other fluctuates because it could be a bigger tournament where, you know, it could be a Modern Masters draft, so it's like $45 to $50, or like something like that. So, and then say with gas and food, you total everything together, it's $100 a week that they're spending just on tournaments. And I'm not talking about, like, say, like, they already have their deck, they've already spent money on that, whatever. So, like, you have that. That's like $100 a week. Now, again, some people think that's a lot, some people don't think that's anything at all. Depends on your financial situation, depends on who you are, whatever. So basically, you could look at that person and be like, wow, I want to do that too, but your finances just can't cut it. So like in that group that I'm a part of, there's like these stickers, like we'll call them sets, they're called like kits, but there's like the sticker set that, you know, I'm a part of, that this girl comes out with, whatever, and they're like, depending on the like what it is, like how many stickers come with it, you know, I feel like I'm sounding so serious like talking about stickers, but it's pretty intense, guys. It's great. So one of them can cost like $25. And I see some people every single week, they spend $25. And then like you've got like $3 shipping. So it's like $28. And then you have like, sometimes they also buy something from this that's like another $10 and whatever. And you look at that and you're like, wow, I wish I could do that. Why can't I do that? But then you gotta stop yourself and be like, if that other person can do it, then I can do it too. No, you can't do that because you just financially like can't afford that. And I think that the temptation in seeing other people, you know, buy expensive things and like whatever, like, I don't want to say I'm like fully immune to that at this point. Like, okay, I work at Victoria's Secret. Now, I know for most people on this channel who are guys probably are like, whatever, but like, okay, if you know anything about Victoria's Secret, you know that a lot of people like Victoria's Secret. And if you're someone who works in that setting, you must be like, wow, you get a discount. You probably buy something from there all the time. Okay, I've been there for almost 3 years now, and that has worn off on me. I have like kind of immune to a lot of the stuff that Victoria's Secret produces at this point. Because I'm like, I have a lot of stuff already because we've been given stuff for free. I've got like a lot of things for free from there, and I've got stuff at a severe discount. Like something can cost like $30 and I get it for $5. Like, you know, I have a lot of stuff where a lot of the stuff I'm like, okay, I don't need that. I just don't need that. Like I've seen that, I've, you know, whatever, I've seen things come and go, and it just doesn't really affect me at this point. And it's kind of one of those things that I feel like I've built up like an immunity. I think that's like a good word for it. I built up an immunity for a lot of stuff from Victoria's Secret, just like I have with magic cards. Now, and again, I feel like there's some people on the outside who'd be like, wait, but you have all these foil cards and like all that sort of stuff. A lot of those cards I just traded for. Like honestly, I don't avidly really go out of my way to purchase myself foils. If someone just has a trade and like I don't see anything else, but I don't know how to explain this, but like I want to give that person the trade because I'm not going to do anything with that one card. I'd rather, you know, someone else have it. So I want to make that trade. So sometimes I'll just trade for a foil. Like I traded for a foil Brainstorm from, not Conspiracy, Eternal Masters. I traded for a foil thing because I didn't need the stuff that was in my binder, so it was like, whatever. So again, I don't avidly go out of my way to really buy those stuff most of the time. Certain cards I do make an exception for. Certain things too, sometimes if you look at prices of foils, sometimes there's literally a 20-cent difference, and I'm like, I don't care about 20 cents at that point. Like, whatever, if it gives me a prettier foil, sure, I'll get it. Like, I don't really care, you know? But again, I feel like I used to dump so much money into it. Like, okay, I have this, oh, do I have it right here? Yeah, okay, this is, very excited. I should probably do a video updating you guys on it, but I need to get a couple of cards for my 5-color lady deck because I played it this past weekend, and I was so bummed because I was so excited about getting footage for you guys and posting a game so you can watch me play the deck. The deck was, don't get me wrong, was good, but it was one of those times where Paul and I played, and that weekend, like, we hung out Saturday and Sunday, and both those days, like, he just crushed me, like, all the weekend. Not even just when I was playing ladies, like, when I was playing other decks, like, he just had his weekend, and he just won everything, and my decks just didn't perform, I didn't draw well, like, his decks just did significantly better than mine, so I was like, okay, whatever, that's fine. So basically, I have this list right now. There are 5 cards on this list, this thing of cards that I need. So, I feel like, too, you know, how there's some people who always change their EDH decks. Like another thing too is some people with their EDH decks, like, they get a lot of those classic EDH staples that are very expensive. Like, okay, I want to talk about this example. Oracle of Moldiah. Card's great, right? For those who don't know, it's a 4-mana 2/2. Play with the top card of your library revealed. You can play that card if it's a land, and you can play an additional land each turn. Card is great, right? That's a card that I want to get for a variety of my decks. I know it's a very popular card, but I want it because it works really well in Tasigur. I have it in Tasigur. I want it in Omnath just because it's really good. And I think about that as a realistic purchase for me to buy because I'm like, well, I love Omnath. I love Tasigur. I play both of those decks. They're a ton of fun, whatever. Now let's talk about a deck like Yisan. I don't talk about my Yisan deck that much because I don't play Yisan a whole ton. The deck's good, but it's not amazing, and it potentially may be a deck that I will take, you know, apart in the future. I would not get an Oracle of Moldiah for the deck. One, because I don't really have room in that deck. The deck is pretty packed, actually, which is great, because I do like the deck, and it is pretty sweet. But yeah, I'm not going to go out and buy really expensive cards for that deck that I don't play all that often, so I'm very realistic. With ladies, even though the deck is not at the stage that I want it to yet, because I just built it, I'm testing cards out. You know, you have to test the waters with decks, I personally believe. I believe even if you net deck, you absolutely need to test the waters of the deck. You need to see how the deck plays out. And so with this deck, I, you know, realized that I need a couple of cards. So I made this list. I need, the most expensive card on here is I need to get a Mirara's Wake. And it is, I don't even know, I have my laptop here actually because I was trying to get that damn mic to work out. I forgot about it, now I'm really upset because I started thinking about it again. But yeah, like, Mirara's Wake, I need that card. It's a little bit more expensive, and, you know, I think about it, and I think about every single card that I need at this point, and I'm like, okay, I want this card, this card, this card. Why do I need those cards? Is it essential? Do I need it right now? I try to be realistic. Last I checked, it was like 15, 17, but who knows? Oh, it's cheaper than expected. Oh, fam, that's the best thing ever. It is the Judgment one, and then I probably want the Conspiracy one because I don't like the Judgment art. That bothers me. Yeah, that's another thing too. I'll pay like a little bit, like, I'll pay like 30 cents more for art that I like a little bit better. Like, there's certain things that don't really bother me. Usually when I first get cards, I try to get the cards to get the deck done, and then in the future I can go in and change that. But yeah, I need like these 5 cards for the deck, and like, you know, like, okay, in the past, so because I don't know how to play Magic, I thought that the combo of Artisan Kozilek Prime Speaker is gonna work. Then you was like, sweet, you draw like 11 cards, this is great. And then you guys were like, Tracy, that's not how that works. So basically, in a haste, what I could have done is I could have been like, okay, I need to buy these 2 cards that are $30 each and dump $60 in Tasigur. I could have done that. But instead I was like, you know what? I have these other cards laying around. They're not amazing. They're not, like, one of them was like a Styre of Stagnation, which I actually took out of Tasigur because it doesn't really do a lot. And I was like, you know what, whatever. So, and like one of the cards that I want to get for the deck, oh man, it's the sewer, I think it's like Sewer Nemesis. It's like it has like the, I don't know, it's like a something, it's a black card and it does cool things with the graveyard, whatever. I should get Marin of Clan Nail. I'm thinking of Tooth and Nail now, but like the, one of the Experience Commander things, I need to get her for Tasigur, actually. Thanks for reminding me, guys. So yeah. But yeah, I could have easily like been like, oh, I need her, and then she's another $8. But another thing too that I'm trying with Alright, my camera just yelled at me because I went over my time limit, sorry. But we're just gonna keep talking because this is gonna be a long video, I don't care. One thing that I'm really trying with my finances to do is I'm trying this thing where I may buy a little bit more in each day, But like, okay, so there's 7 days in the week, right? Let me try to explain this. Instead of having 7 purchases that I make throughout the week, I try to limit it to like 2 to 3 times a week where I'm buying stuff. That way, what this really does is, so say one day I have like $20 worth of stuff that I buy, but then I'm like, oh wait, I need that other thing. But then I was like, you know what, I've already spent $20 today. That other thing can wait until a different time period. I don't need it, it's not urgent. You think about finances differently. Again, this is just something that's helped me. It may not help everyone, but it's really helped me. So like, this was this past week. Okay, so like, this past week, so the 20th to the 26th of March, Monday I didn't buy anything. Tuesday I spent, $30 because I bought some stickers, and then I bought my selfie light, which I actually forgot to use in this video. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I didn't buy anything. And then Saturday and Sunday, I bought, stuff. I bought whatever. So basically, I look at it how it hits you a little bit differently when, you know, each day you're like, I'm only spending $7, but then you're like, 7 times 7 is 49. Yeah, I hesitated there and I was like, wait, hold up, am I going to say the wrong number? 49. And then you're like, $49. But what if you could have combined all those and then in one day spent, you know, $20 here and then $20 here, and then the rest of the week you didn't buy anything. I don't know if I'm explaining this clearly exactly for how I want, but I think it affects you differently, because if you say each day, oh, I'm only spending $10, but then if you were to tack that on a day where you already spent $30, you're like, I don't want to spend that extra $10 and have $40 in a day, and it hits you differently, and it makes you think about that. Trying another thing to think about purchases before I make them. This can be a really tough thing. I think in a lot of, I don't know if it's just today's society or like whatever, but the whole like limited edition like type of thing really gets a lot of people. I don't know if it's so much as magic cards, maybe with like the from the vault things, like those things that have a very limited print run. Maybe things like that. But like a lot of like cards you could just buy individually, like, you know, the limited edition thing, whatever. But the whole like limited edition thing that gets you to buy it now. And you're like, well, I need to buy it now because if I don't buy it now, it's going to be gone forever and I'm never going to see that object again. And like realistically, I mean, you know, you can probably find something similar to that, you know, 5 years from now, sometime, you know, whatever. I used to be really worried about stuff like that. I used to get caught up in like, oh my gosh, I gotta get it now because it's limited edition, blah, 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 whatever. But I think I'm just so much more like, whatever, you know? I think like, I was reading this article one time that was called like the 3-day rule. Like if there's an item that you see, and I even have issues with this and I'll talk about it in a minute, but again, it may help someone else. So like, say you're like, I really want this one magic card. You think about it and you're like 3 days later, do you still want the magic card? Okay, you can buy it. I don't like that because I think that it can lend to the overspending still, because there's a lot of stuff that I still have on my wish list that I've wanted for over 3 days, but I don't go out and buy them. So I think like self-control is like another thing that I think it's good. And I think the temptation of being in a game store and being surrounded, like even that though, I'm not really like, give me the box of promos and stuff. Let me take a gander and see what I can find. You know, not something that I'm super into anymore. Yeah, but I think really trying to be better with my finances, really trying to think about what exactly I am spending. I'm not 100%, I'm not an expert. I'm not an expert, and I'm not saying that I know everything, and I'm not saying that I'm 100% where I want to be. I do spend a little bit more than I would like to each month. I really do wish that I didn't. However, the stuff that I'm like, okay, like let's take going out to eat for an example. This is a thing that has been really seriously affecting me as of this year because I'm a vegetarian now. If you're not a vegetarian, you may have a little bit of a hard time understanding this because to me it's something that you don't get until you actually are a vegetarian, or you have like a significant other or like a best friend that you go out to eat with all the time and you're a vegetarian. Okay, so when you go out to restaurants when you're a vegetarian or a vegan, you have a really hard time a lot of times with food selection because the stuff is limited. Out of 100, no, not 100, out of like 50 things on a menu, you can maybe eat like 6 of them. Like it's a very limiting type of thing, right? And I'm not complaining and I'm not saying, oh man, like I do wish that more places catered towards people like me. Like even like one of my cousins is gluten-free, and that's and one of my good friends, my friend's Dan, is gluten-free too, and it's a struggle for both of them. Like they struggle a lot. It's really hard to go out to eat places, whatever. And Paul and I used to go out to eat all the time. This is like before I was a vegetarian. And we would spend so much money. Like, we would take turns, of course. Like, he would get it one time, I would get another. But it was expensive. I mean, it was adding up, and it was a lot of money. And my knob on my dresser is loose. And I'm just looking at my knobs and how old they are, and they look like they belong to a 5-year-old, because they do. They've got, like, these little flowers on them, and, like, just certain things in my room are, like, very childish, because I've had them since, you know, I was a kid. Like, that blanket on my bed, that pink blanket that's got, like, hearts on it. Yeah, it's, like, I got that when I was, like, 10. Like, 22 now, kind of old for that. But yeah, we would go out to eat all the time, and it would just be like here, go on, take my money, and it would be so expensive. And, you know, I didn't really realize how, because I always felt like it was one of those things that when you go out to restaurants, at least, like, the restaurants that are by me and that are around me, they're expensive. It's expensive to go out to eat. And so, like, you know, I would get, like, a chicken dish or whatever, you know, the past, and it would be, like, $15. His would be, like, you know, $16, $17, $18, whatever, and it would just be a lot of money. And then the other day, we made, went to the grocery store, and we picked out food to make ourselves quesadillas. I'm obsessed with quesadillas. It's one of the things my mom has been making for me, and what's great about it is you literally can I love foods that you can put whatever you want in them. Like, you're not bound to a specific recipe, which is awesome. That's why I love burritos. I love burritos, quesadillas, like that whole thing, because you literally, even if you eat meat, like say you have a significant other and one of you eats meat and the other doesn't, like you can add meat for them but then not for yourself. Like, I love flexible things like that. So basically, my mom's been making me a lot of quesadillas, and, like, you know, we'll put, like, I love black beans, so, like, we'll put black beans, like, rice, you know, like, whatever, cheese, you know, you can put whatever you want in there. And again, if you're a vegan, you could put, like, vegan cheese in there too. So, like, when Paul and I went to the grocery store and I bought food for us, and so I bought a pack of quesadillas. There was, like, a pack of 10 for, like, $1.50 or whatever. They're very cheap. Black beans, inexpensive. You could buy those in bulk too. Like, they probably have them at, like, Costco or something, or, like, Sam's if you're, like, or BJ's or whatever if you're, like, a bulk person. You can probably buy, like, cans of black beans. Black beans are not expensive at all. You get a can of black beans for, like, $1. It's great, and they're awesome. Say you want cheese. You know, you get a package of cheese that has leftover cheese, you know, it's got, like, a ton of it for, like, $2, whatever. And then, I'm trying to think if we put anything else. And then he had rice at his place. So basically, and then, like, he had spices and stuff like that at his house. So I spent, like, $9 or whatever on food for us, something like that. And I went back to his place and we made it. And I was like, we have leftover cheese. We used up the can of black beans, whatever, it's $1. And then we have, like, leftover quesadillas because we made, like, you know, you can make burritos too if you, like, are really, like, you need to financially, like, save money and, you know, whatever. Like, you can make burritos because you're just using one quesadilla, or you just like burritos better. How did I get on the topic of food? Who the hell knows? So anyways, so we made them, and again, it was, like, very inexpensive, and I was like, wow, we need to make our own food more. It's not hard. I mean, really, we put rice and beans together. We put, like, I don't know, brown rice, I think, together. And, you know, rice is another thing that's very inexpensive. And, you know, you could get vegetables, you could just, you know, whatever. Like, and it was very inexpensive, and I was like, wow, we need to make food home more often, because one, we can make stuff that I can actually eat. I don't have to, like, look around a menu trying to find foods I can eat, because everything is meat in it. And two, it's so much cheaper, and we've saved so much money now making food by ourselves. And I know a lot of people think that's, like, a newer thing, like, you know, once you make food for X amount of years, you're gonna get tired of it, whatever, but, like, you know, I personally, in this moment, I really enjoy it, and I'm gonna keep doing that. So, yeah, but yeah, it's something that I think, like, that's another thing that I've like, essentially almost eliminated. Don't get me wrong, going out to eat every once in a while, one of my favorite places to go to is I love Japanese food. You know, it's funny, Japan is actually one of the places I do want to go to, because I just love the look of the language, as you guys know, and I love Japanese food. So there's this Japanese restaurant that's, like, 10 minutes away in the town over from me, and they do hibachi. They do, like, vegetable hibachi, and it is awesome. It's so good. And, you know, it is a little bit, you know, it's like $14 or whatever for the thing. We get a lot of food, and I'm also a light eater, so it fills me up, and oh, it's great. And you get miso soup, and I love miso soup with tofu, and spinach, so good. Yeah, so that's that thing. But yeah, like, that's, like, a thing that I've eliminated, basically, from that. another thing, and this is a very unpopular opinion, I don't have a smartphone. I know a lot of people think it's weird. I've, at this point, lived my entire life without having a smartphone. I think I'm doing pretty okay. It's not something I view. There have been times, I'm gonna be serious, where I wish I had a smartphone. There are times where I'm like, wow, it would be convenient. But checking Facebook, checking social media, not really something I need to do all the time, that I can just, like, I can just do that when I get home. Like, that's not something that I think of as urgent or important. But yeah, that's been that. So yeah, like, that's another thing that saves me, like, you know, for this, like, I think I have a year left or so of my contract. Goodness knows, have no idea what phone I'm getting. If they still make, I don't have my phone, it's in the other room. See, this is, like, why I can't have a smartphone, because I swear, like, yesterday, I got home at, like, I got home at, like, 6:40 last night from work, and my phone was in my bag, and then I went in the living room and I watched wrestling, because Raw was on last night, and my phone was in my bag, and, like, it was just there, and so, like, I didn't realize, and I was like, oh, my phone's in my bag, I guess. Hold up, I just want to, like, check how much I have. This is gonna be, like, the longest video ever. Oh, and my camera's dying. Oh, damn it. Okay, so, anyways, but yeah, my phone was in there. So, like, that's another thing, like, phone a month is, like, $50, which is, like, outrageous, you know? That's another thing that saved me a significant amount of money. So, yeah. I don't really know if I was gonna I may do a part 2 of this, because honestly, like, this was a lot of fun and I enjoyed talking about this. And I didn't think I would, but I did. So let me know what you guys think, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.